Hello, sweet little lights. It's so good to have you here again. Today's story is about two very special women, one older, one younger, who showed us what it means to stick together and to trust God, even when life gets hard. Are you ready for the story of Ruth and Naomi? I will stick with you. A long time ago, in a land called Moab, lived a young woman named Ruth. She had a sweet and kind mother-in-law named Naomi. Naomi wasn't from Moab. She was from a place called Bethlehem. Naomi had come to Moab with her husband and 2 sons during a hard time. But something very sad happened. Naomi's husband and both her sons died. Naomi was heartbroken. So were Ruth and another daughter-in-law named Orpah. One day, Naomi said, "I'm going back to my home in Bethlehem. You girls should stay here with your families." Orpah gave Naomi a hug and said goodbye. But Ruth held Naomi's hand and said something so beautiful, it became one of the most loving promises in the whole Bible. Ruth said, "Don't ask me to leave you. Where you go, I'll go. Where you live, I'll live. Your people will be my people, and your God will be my God." Wow. Ruth chose to stay with Naomi no matter what. That's real love and loyalty. So the 2 women traveled to Bethlehem together. They were poor and didn't have much food. But Ruth worked hard. Every day she went to pick leftover grains from the fields so they could eat. She ended up picking from a field owned by a kind man named Boaz. Boaz saw how loving and hard-working Ruth was. He had heard how she stayed with Naomi and cared for her. Boaz said, "May God bless you for your kindness." Later, Ruth and Boaz got married, and they had a baby boy named Obed. Obed grew up and became the grandpa of someone very, very special. Can you guess who? King David. And many years after King David came, Jesus. Yes, Ruth was part of the family line of Jesus. Let's chat, little lights. What was the name of Ruth's mother-in-law? Did Ruth go back to her family? What promise did Ruth make? Who did Ruth meet in Bethlehem? Whose great-grandma did Ruth become? Great job, brilliant stars. You're learning so well. This story teaches us to be kind, loyal, and full of love. Sometimes things get tough. But just like Ruth, when we stick with God and the people He gives us, He blesses us in beautiful ways. God can turn sadness into joy, and He always has a plan for our lives. If you enjoyed this story of Ruth and Naomi, then come join the family of Little Lights. Don't forget to follow and subscribe on YouTube at Little Light Story, Instagram at Little Light Storytime, TikTok at Little Light Storytime. Like, comment, and share this story with your friends. And always remember, you are a shining light in God's hands. See you soon, little lights. Keep glowing for Jesus.